Greetings all, and welcome to the Cognitive Edge. Today I am here with a very special guest, Rebekkah Smith Aldrich. She is the director of the Mid-Hudson Library System. She's the author of 3 books. She has created a certification in sustainability for librarians, and she has also won various awards throughout the library world. So, Rebekkah, I want to say hello to you and welcome.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. So, let's just jump right in. How did you get started in libraries? You know,
My parents were big library users, and my father ended up being on the board of our local library. And he thought it would be a good idea if I had something to put on my college application. So he created a junior board member position for me. And then, really encouraged me to go to library school. And I didn't. I went my own path. I did something different. And then really wasn't enjoying what I was doing. And he cut out a little ad from the Poughkeepsie Journal, and it was an ad for the Mid-Hudson Library System for a grant-funded position, which I got. And it was part-time, but I loved the work so much. And the people here were so supportive. They actually helped me go through library school, and I've been here ever since. So I'm going on year 28. So I've done all sorts of things for libraries along the way, helping them win their budget votes, build buildings, figure out how to train library boards, coach library directors. And it's just an amazing job, and I'm very grateful to have it.
I know that you are extremely involved in the library world. So the skills that you've developed, you've developed through just working and learning on your own, and then kind of picking things up and then being able to transform them to teach others.
So I would say, yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of on-the-job learning, and
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to work with, I think we have about 1,000 library workers across our library system, over 600 library trustees, and they all have a varied background. Some come from business, some come from education, others have been in the entertainment world. And I've just had this exposure over 25 plus years to a lot of different professional skills, learning how to facilitate meetings, good communicators. Library people are usually good communicators.
Yeah.
So I've just had this wonderful education by virtue of exposure to so many different people and so many different backgrounds. So, I definitely have formal training from a master's
Right.
degree and a postmaster's degree. I feel like a lot of my on-the-job training and interaction with people has really informed my skill set almost more than my formal education.
Yeah, it's always just getting, I think, in there and just really getting as much as you can and taking as much in as you can. So, can you tell us a little bit about sustainability and what it means for libraries and um, how it works with libraries?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2019, the American Library Association declared sustainability as a core value of our profession. And that partially came out of work we've been doing here in New York through the Sustainable Libraries Initiative. And one of the things we learned here in New York through what I call the SLI, the Sustainable Libraries Initiative, was that a definition of sustainability was really helpful, because most people, they were all defining it in their own lens. Some people thought it was about going green. Some people thought it was about finances. So we promoted, and ALA ultimately adopted, a definition that's called the triple bottom line definition, which asks people to consider not only how much something costs from a monetary standpoint, but also the impact on the environment and on human health. So if we can find the balance amongst environmental stewardship, economic feasibility, and social equity, that's more sustainable than something that just considered the out-of-pocket cost of something. And so what we've learned over time is that if you use that lens, basically, through which to make a decision, you're probably going to make a decision that's better for the long term than kind of a haphazard decision that was made without that thinking behind it. And you can use that for decisions large and small. It could be in a library setting. buying office supplies or materials for children's programs, up to and including your library building. And so we've really been trying to help people understand this is kind of a mindset change, and that if you can practice making better decisions, taking all three of those things into consideration, you're going to create a stronger, more respected library that'll be around for a long time.
It's so wonderful to hear. I've read your books and I've enjoyed them, and the this lens, it's definitely a positive one to be looking through, and to be, really thinking of libraries in that manner, instead of a sort of like I guess like a narrow kind of mindset. It's better to be looking at this from, how do we make things better? And so this is a major positive step. And, applaud to you. Um, so another question I wanted to ask you is, where do you see libraries in, say, 3 to 4 years? I know it's hard to predict, but where do you see libraries in 3 to 4 years, let's say?
I actually don't think it's hard to predict in 3 to 4
Okay.
years. Sometimes people ask me about 50 or 100 years, and I struggle with that. But less than a decade, I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see more of the same, which is an increasing reliance on libraries. I know my world is primarily public libraries, but I can see it with my friends in school and academic libraries as well. Because if you take a look at the global predictions of what's most challenging to humans right now, number one is artificial intelligence driven misinformation and disinformation. And that is right in our wheelhouse. We're information professionals. People trust us, which is a big deal these days, to really find an agency where you can trust the advice you're getting. We're not trying to make money off of people. We don't have ulterior motives. We're just trying to help people thrive in the face of the modern world. And that's just going to get more complicated in the next few years. And I think that, combined with the impacts of climate change, which are just getting more fierce, more severe, more frequent bad weather, people need help to come together and help each other. And libraries are great catalysts for that, because they're civic spaces. Again, they're trusted. There's no political agenda. And so I think traditional services like literacy education, financial literacy, digital literacy, these are all things the world is in desperate need of. And it's exactly what libraries are working on. So I think we've got a very bright future. We have to get better probably at articulating our value and standing up for ourselves, but all the raw materials are right there.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And we need, yeah, we do need to really, I guess, get a better grip at the table to standing up for ourselves, and really forcing the way through about, the information broker, and ultimately, who's going to handle these large amounts of data.
Mhm.
We're knowledge managers in the end, and this is what we do. Um, so, as this data grows and grows and grows, I start thinking in my head, who owns it? You know, where does it belong? Where does it go? And there are so many different types of data
Mhm.
that, as from the public librarian perspective, you'll have patrons coming in asking questions about, medical data. There's so many like tools now, even on your phone, and I mean your watch. Your
Mhm.
your watch can tell you all types of different things. So it's really something else. And I see I'm going a little slow. That happens to me. I don't know why. That happens to me all the time here. Sometimes.
Mm.
Let's see if I can catch up on myself. Usually takes 1 second to catch up on me. But if I don't, then
I can hear you great. It's just the video is frozen.
okay. So perfect. So anyway, so like I was saying, there's just so much, data out there, and as the information brokers of it, I think we're going to hold more, definitely more of a like a medium where we need to be, so to speak. So
I think there's that kind of broker role, as you've described, and also an advocate role that particularly I think librarians are advocates for their patrons. And right now, people are monetizing information like never before and trying to keep people from it if they don't have the cash to get in. And so I think libraries fighting for the rights of patrons to have access to information they need to make good decisions about medical issues, as you said, decisions for their family, for their economic future. People have rights, and they have a right to get to the information to make good decisions. And so I think librarians in that position as advocate is another growing role for us, unfortunately, but a very critical one, because a lot of folks don't have a voice or understand some of those privacy issues or paywall issues they're up against.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a problem with people with the mindset that we just check books in and out,
Yeah.
and that's I mean, you know, when I was the clerk, I did that, and and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But as librarians and as professional employees, we have this much larger capacity that we handle than just those who check out books. And I think it's going to be more realized, or much more realized, coming up soon as this data explodes.
And I think, shout out to folks that are checking out books, because they're the ones I think that are building the trust equity that is so essential to the future of libraries. That good customer service experience, it builds trust and community in our libraries. And so I think that kind of role that we play is a big part of social infrastructure, really, is a place that people feel welcomed. They're part of something larger than themselves. They're welcome to pursue ideas and learn more together. It's just, I love watching how a library team, like the strengths of each of those roles in that library, really make it so successsul.
You're 100% right. It's again, like you said, a big shout out to all the frontline workers, because they're the ones who are mingling with and speaking with and building those relationships with our communities, and making the hub of the community the library. And so
Right.
it's just so important. It's so important. So okay. I don't want to keep you too long. I know that you probably are. It's Friday, and you probably are thinking, I gotta go home.
I have more meetings after this, Daniel. No worries.
Oh, Jesus! It's like for you, it probably never ends. You're always busy running around, and so. All righty, Rebekkah, it was lovely talking to you, and I'm gonna put up your books, under my LinkedIn page, where I post our video for today.
Thank you.
And make sure that everybody can see all the different things that are out there. And so excited to have you and to be able to capture your information here on video, and to get to know a lot more about you and who you are. And it's been terrific. And I thank you for coming on today.
Of course. Thank you for asking, Daniel. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, lovely seeing you too. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.